Audi Q5, a car that had surprised me quite a bit a couple of years ago. I thought it would be boring and pointless, but it was actually really nice. The facelift can be seen in several places. On the outside, there are a few more pronounced body lines, as well as a new, more aggressive LED signature. Apart from the fact that this Sportback has a sloping roof, here's also the changed LEDs. When you buy the Q5, you can take the optional OLEDs and select the preferred looks. There's plenty of space in the trunk, despite the lower ceiling. This Audi offers everything from textiles to leather for the seats, which can also be heated and massaged. The rear passengers should be very comfortable with plenty of legroom, which is quite welcome on longer drives. The optional digital instrument cluster has very nice and clear graphics, but can also display navigation, trip information, and so on. The infotainment screen also has clear graphics and buttons, although it can be somewhat unintuitive at times. I have to applaud these optional 3-zone climate controls because they are mechanically fantastic to the touch. This model has the Quattro drive, which was a welcome addition in these snowy and wet winter conditions.
Yes, the Q5. I've tested this car quite a while ago. In the previous generation, I believe it was, and I was at first a little bit disappointed because it only came with a 2-liter diesel engine, and I thought that was a bit, well, not enough for a Q5. And this also has a Q5. This also has a 2-liter diesel, but with the previous model, when I was driving it, I thought, well, this is actually really, really nice, and it's quite enough. And with this engine, which is the 200 horsepower-ish engine, it actually is also quite enough. It's very pleasant. So the main thing to take away from this car, like I always try to give you sort of a general feel of how it is to be in this particular model, how it is to drive it, is it pleasant, does it have any annoying things? And the general feeling I get from this by driving it is that everything is very nice. Even the sporty S seats are actually quite comfortable. I personally quite like them. They're very supportive, very nice. They're beautifully heated. In fact, I only have to put it on the highest heat setting for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds and so, and then just shut it off because they're just pleasantly warm at that point. The S-line steering wheel is absolutely fantastic. It's so ergonomic and perforated leather on it. It's beautiful. It's very nice. It's got physical climate controls with clicky feeling. It's very nice. Yes, it does have this little monitor for the infotainment screen, just not nicely incorporated into the dashboard, but generally it is a very, very nice place to be. It's also quite a bit quieter than the Volkswagen Arteon I was driving with this same engine. Let's see then, are there any annoying things or things that I don't like and would change? Well, There's a couple maybe. First of all, of course, this is completely personal preference, but I don't like the infotainment screen just being planted on top of the dashboard. I would like it to be integrated nicely. I also don't like some of the piano black plastics here, but there aren't actually that many here, so that's all right. The biggest pet peeve I think I might have, the limiter, by the way, which I always use and I always complain about in Volkswagens. The limiter, you don't have to go into 20 sub-menus on the screen. You just press a little button here on the cruise control stock, you set the limiter, and that's it. Perfect. I don't want 20 different sub-menus. Also, the digital instrument cluster is beautiful. It's big and it's very nice. The only real annoying thing, I would say, is the fact that this is an Audi. It costs what this one costs, I think 74,000 something, and the rear view camera does not hide itself. So in winter like this, when it's raining or snowing or whatever, it's barely usable sometimes because it gets so dirty. So yeah, I don't really understand why they cannot hide it with a mechanism. It is an Audi after all. Volkswagen has it on their Passats, for example, or the Arteon, and this one doesn't. So yeah, when I said that this is very nice, even with a 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel engine, I meant it. It is actually quite enough for practically everything you would want, even for a larger car like this. Now, the question is, would you want more? And the answer is, of course, always I would want more. Even if it was a V6 diesel, I would want a V8, for example. But you know, you have enough pulling power. You can accelerate quite nicely. You know, it's nice. The only thing that's kind of bothering me is that with a 4-cylinder 2-liter diesel, you would think that it would be a little bit more frugal, which it isn't, because, well, this car is a bit larger than the Arteon with the same engine I've tested, and it does have all-wheel drive, which is of course full-time, so it's always on. So my average consumption is 8 liters per 100 kilometers, and I personally do drive somewhat economically most of the time. So this was quite a surprise. With the Arteon, I could get it down to about 5. With this, and of course that was front-wheel drive, with this, 8 liters. It goes between 8 to 8.5, you know, depending on where I'm driving. So yeah, you will be using a bit more fuel. All in all, I am very pleasantly, I'm not gonna say surprised, because I was expecting this car to be very nice, because I remember the previous Q5 I've tested, and that did surprise me just how nice it was, with a pitiful 4-cylinder 2-liter diesel. And this is the same. It is just a very, very, very nice place to be. It's very comfortable. It's got a lot of space in the back. It's got a lot of space in the trunk. It's just a little bit thirsty and a little bit expensive, but you know, it's an Audi.
The base Audi Q5 Sportback starts at 47,650 euros. For the top-of-the-line model with the most powerful gas engine, quattro, and practically all the extras, prepare to shell out 109,000 euros.